I have been doing some upgrades on the 1974 Ford Bronco. Put a new transmission in it, a 2.5, 3-inch lift kit on it. This is the rear drive line, and the way the vehicle sits now, you can see that it is totally collapsed. There's no slip at all. Taking this over to Paris, Tennessee to Wiles Driveline. I can't think of the name totally, but anyway, from the transfer case to the rear end is 31.5 inches, so I need some extra free play. So they're going to have to shorten this for me, and I'll show more later of the Bronco and what has been done to the vehicle on the upgrades. What I'm going to do, this is the interior of my 1974 Ford Bronco, and to tell you a little bit about over the years what I have done with it. And it had belonged to my uncle back in Idaho. Grew up deer and elk hunting, and this was the vehicle that he would put on the trailer. We'd take it to the mountains and drive all over the mountains, Cuddy Mountain in Idaho. And he got into bad health, and then I ended up acquiring it. But some of the things that I have done, and from the right of the vehicle, you'll see inside the glove box, I have put an AODE, electronic automatic overdrive Ford transmission in it. It had a C4, and now I had a problem. There was some stuff that busted inside. It was the overdrive band, I believe it was, in that C4. But I always said if something ever happened to that transmission, I'm going to go with an AOD, get that overdrive, and make it nicer for running up and down the roads. So with that, that was the most recent upgrade. And then earlier, a couple years ago, I guess it was, I went with that Go EFI, the Phi-Tech out of California, and that's been nice. Now, with that, when I put that AODE, I had to change out my twin sticks. And for those of you that don't know about the twin sticks, on the transfer case, so with that I could put one in neutral and one in high. So in other words, if something happened to my rear drive line, I had to take it out, and that was just recently. I took the drive line out from the rear. It really was too short for the vehicle after the transmission swap, and I just had that drive line shortened and put in there. So I could put this, you had to have a speed sensor reading on your vehicle for the transmission to act right. So with the rear drive line missing, I took and put that in high, put the front in high, and just use it as a front wheel drive vehicle. But with the twin sticks, I've never used it in that application. Put one in low and one in high, or the opposite. But you certainly could do that with that if you were a rock climber or just whatever. The red switch under the dash, I've got some fog lights up front. But with that AM, FM, cassette radio, changed out the original one. The steering column, my uncle put, it was out of a Ford LTD, because these did not come with a tilt steering. I don't recall what year it was, but I remember him doing it. He found it in a wrecking yard and an old LTD car, and ended up putting this tilt steering wheel in it. Now keep in mind, it had that Ford 5-pin ignition lock in the column. I had that shaved off and repainted. Certainly with that, let's pan back to the right. If you look at the door window knobs, those actually came off that same Ford LTD, and it was the wing windows on those cars that had that little short handle, and then you could roll that wing window in and out instead of the lever, what you see on this Ford right here. And the reason my Uncle Roy replaced that is it was it was aftermarket made roll bar, and the long handles, you couldn't roll down the windows with the original equipment that came with the Ford Bronco. So it has the shorter those wing window cranks off of that Ford LTD. But when I got it, it had the carpet in it, and in the driver's floorboard there was just a little bit of rust down in the bottom. So I pulled the carpet out, and certainly did not want to put the carpet back in here. These things are not really watertight, and I had the floor pan replaced by a paint auto body shop. And then I took the vehicle over to a place that did the rhino lining, and just had the whole tub on the inside rhino line. So at any time, if I get this muddy, I pull these floor mats out, get the garden hose, and just spray all the mud right out of it. Then after I got that finished with the rhino lining, then I replaced, well, I took and had it painted. And this is the original Ford color, and I don't know the name of the color, but it's kind of like a metallic root beer. But so it was at the paint shop, and then I just found the aftermarket replacement dash and a new headliner. Let's see if we can take a look at the headliners. You can buy the headliners. There's Wild Horses, there's Jeff's Bronco Graveyard. There's a bunch of companies that on these early Broncos aftermarket, and they're out there waiting for you to call. And matter of fact, the metal body pieces of these, you could, if you're a good welder, you could order all the pieces and weld the body pieces all together, and then have a complete body for a Ford Bronco. There's a company out there that makes the frames. There's like 3 different style of frames. So if you're going to do rock crawling, or just a stock body frame, and then there's the other, I don't know if it's sand drag or something else, but they make them heavy duty. And certainly with that, there's an opportunity for that business to grow because of the love of these early Broncos. And of course, you see the door panel. That's the original door panel. And what else can I tell you about it? I do have the bikini kit, so I can take the hard top off. About 3 people to get the hard top, pick it up, get it off, and then with that I could put the little bikini top on there and have the summertime fun. Subscribe to these films that I'll be putting out on YouTube down below. Certainly if you've got a question or comment, would like to see more of what I have done to this, and ask your questions, I'll be more than happy to answer it, or we can shoot a video on it. For the Phi-Tech, I could show you the set points that I'm running. It's a 302. Of course, it's the 4-barrel. And I operate I have the command center from Go EFI. The command center is the high-pressure fuel system that you have to have for this throttle body to make it work. And then I did some work on that to keep that from overheating or from just basically like vapor locking like a carburetor does. But it's been a fun project. I think the only thing I was looking at now, I was putting the drive line on underneath, and it looks like it's the rear seal from the oil pan. I must have gotten that, didn't put that on right. I recently replaced it, but I'm noticing some oil leaking down onto the front of the transmission. I wiped it with my finger thinking it was transmission fluid. It's like, no, it's not. That AOD transmission with the adapter kit that you get, that transmission has to be disassembled to put the shaft into place to make for the AODE to work to go to the transfer case, the stock transfer case. It's all doable, but the AODE, it can be out of a 4-wheel drive vehicle or a 2-wheel drive. So if you have a Mustang or an LTD or just whatever, you can certainly make that work. If you want a video on that, I could certainly do all of the research that I've done, share that with you to help you out if that's something that you would like to do with your Bronco. But anyway, hope this information helps, and look forward to more videos. Like, share, subscribe. Love to have you as a subscriber to this, keeping up with what I've got going on with the Reedy Chronicles. It's I live on a farm. I've got cattle. I've got you know, I keep myself busy. I've got a business. Matter of fact, we're parked right behind. I've got a locksmith business too. You may not be able to see that, but I make keys for just about everything. So if you're in need of a key or got a quick key question, and yes, for scratch, I've gotten pretty good at making keys for these Ford Broncos too. But anyway, hope you find this helpful, and we'll see you soon.